Hey, everybody. Welcome to your next at home lesson. We're here. We're live. Don't forget, subscribe, smash that like button. We got to go viral. Right. Hey, so this lesson, everybody, we're working on a thing. We're talking about music. We've been listening to music in class, and music's an integral part of the videos that you're producing. And so let's talk about music because you're all familiar listening to music all the time, but the music in movies serves a purpose. There's a reason for the music being there. And so the same thing is when you're producing your videos, there's got to be a reason that you're deciding to put some of the music in there. So first off, let's talk about a word that we should know about regarding the music that you hear in these things. And that's a word is this. It's called score. What does the word score mean? We've talked about this every time I do one of these lessons. Like, it may mean more than just the score that you know, because you may be familiar with, like, is that a score? And yes, that's a score. In sports you play and you score a goal, you score a touchdown, you score a basket, you score a home run. So that's one kind of score. Another kind of score is actually this. Have you ever know this? If you want to be able to create a groove in metal or in wood, you can say you're scoring that. Even on if you take like a quarter, like, ooh, what's that? What's at the edges on there? That has been scored on the edges. Okay, that's another kind of score. What about this? Here's another score. That's a candy bar score. I don't think anybody eats a score anymore. Buttered toffee, though, that sounds good. So like a crispy thing. Anyway, that's a score. There's lots of scores. Like, you want to buy something illegally? Like, you want to score some? That's another term for score. How about this crazy one? What did Abe Lincoln talk about? 4 and 7 years ago. And you know what score is? It's amount of time. It actually means 20. Okay. 4 is and so his thing was his 4 and 7 years ago. So he was trying to talk about 87 years and he tried to come up with a different way. So score means 20. Score is this, like you're keeping tallies on the most confusing sport of all time. Anybody ever try to keep score in bowling? It's impossible. We need computers because I can't understand how it works. 2 + 4 X and a line spare. I don't know. Good thing the computers do that. But actually that line, that hash, that slide is actually where the word score comes up from, because this is like going back to the ancient word score. Like we do these like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you draw a line for it for 5. That interesting story is that the word score is an old like Viking or Norse word, which means incision or a cut. And so that you would often in a stick, you would want to keep tally. You would put an incision or score it. So going back to that score, see, incision, score. Got it. Yeah, so that's the score that we're talking about, tallies that are kept. We're actually talking about score in regards to this. Do you know what this is? That's music, people. And this is music. Oh, yeah. Arguably, maybe the greatest score in the history of movies, or the greatest, most recognizable song, the Star Wars theme. It's, you know it, you hear it, and not necessarily is it recognizable. It makes the movie. Yes, the stories and the visuals and the explosions and the love stories and lightsabers and all that, but boy, the emotion that's connected with the music really kind of makes it something special. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about score. Now, you may be more familiar with this other word. People are like, oh, yeah, well, you're talking about you're talking about like the soundtrack, right? And well, not quite really. No, the score, we're going to get to soundtrack to learn about that word later on. But the idea about this, the word score is the more technical term to be able to use, often referred to as the underscore. And remember, in your editor in WeVideo, when you want to be able to put audio, if your video is on the timeline here, anytime that you want to put any separate audio, sound effect, or music, you're going to put it underneath it on the track below it. And so that is why we often refer to this as the underscore. So the score is this, the background music that plays underneath the action of the movie. And you all know this. It's like Star Wars, but let me play a scene for you where you realize how important what score can really do here. So watch this scene here from a movie called E.T. and really focus on listening to it. If you haven't seen the movie, these boys are trying to save this little alien guy who they've befriended, and all the scientists and police officers are trying to catch him, and they're like, do what kids do, get on bikes and run, but they're going to catch him. So can they get away? And can you tell with the music?
Let's split up. We made it! Oh,
So pretty impressive there. The idea of what the music does is it, and I like the think about that scene when you remember it can really elevate or make that scene better, much like E.T. and the boys had to elevate. See what I did there? What elevate? Got it? Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, so that's what music can do. It can really elevate and make a scene so much. I won't say better is an easy word, but more emotional, more impactful, more memorable, all these sort of things and such. And so, really interesting. Oh, turn the microphone there. How what the score is and what it does. So let's back up a little bit and think about well, how is it even created? This is person that we're going to learn a little bit more about later on, probably arguably the number one music composer of all time. So that's what this person can do. Like in any sort of orchestra, the person who leads it is called the composer, or the conductor. But he is composed, so he's both here. Actually, I messed that up. So he is the composer, the person who wrote it, and he's also conducting this as well. So composer doesn't necessarily have to do both. But this person right here, his name is John, by the name of John Williams, and he did what you just heard in E.T. He also came up with that epic openings one from Star Wars. We're going to learn more about John Williams because he is, like I said, number one in terms of the list of the most famous music movie composers of all time. So now where this thing is done, it's actually done after the movie is already finished. The composer sits down with the person who made the movie, the director. And so for the case for this one, it would be Steven Spielberg for E.T. And John would sit down with him and says, okay, let's watch your movie. And then they watch it and there's no music that's there. And then the director would sort of tell him what he's hoping for, or even maybe play some examples of stuff from other movies at the time period and try to be able to convey the messages and the emotions. Then the composer sits there with this and he watches it and writes out and sketches out the music that he thinks. So as the boys elevated, he wants the music to elevate. And what is he going to do? What kinds of instruments and notes? And I don't know music. So harmonies, rhythms, I don't, loudness. Is that I don't know. I know that it does this. Yeah. And it makes you feel good. So that's what the composer does. And look what is happening here. So he composes it. So here is the last Star Wars movie. John Williams did all the Star Wars movies, even the most recent one that just came out. And he composes it as he watches it at home with his, in his mind and with his pencil and whatever, that sort of stuff. And then when he's ready to record, look what happens. They record actually live while they're watching the movie. And they're following along with the music, but they're trying to be able to make sure that it's timing with that. So really sort of complicated, but exciting, interesting way in which that a movie is scored, recorded to it. So anyway. So what's the point of it all? Why do all of this? So there we go. Here's five reasons, everybody, in which that when a score is working well, it can do the following things. It doesn't always do all of them, but it can do usually one of them. Okay. It should be doing one of them, these 5 things. First off, it tells us the atmosphere or what this world is going to sound like generally. Like if this is a light, airy movie, then we should have a sense of that by the music. Or if it's going to be a scary movie and foreboding movie, then you want to be able to hear that. And that's kind of a general atmospheric, like how things feel all the time. It creates the world around you. Number 2, it can tell us something about the characters. So as the music is developing, you can be able to see the music can change, and that's going to be able to tell me something. Because remember, unlike a book, in a movie, the characters don't talk all the time. In a book, you're constantly reading, oh, Katniss feels this way. She feels in love this way. In a movie, you don't get that. You have to read their facial expressions or some of the words that they're saying, but they often don't say what they're thinking. That's where music can come in. The music can help us understand how they're feeling. We can learn more about the characters. Number 3, it can predict the future. Foreshadowing. What foreshadowing is like, hey, something's going to happen, whatever, in the short future or near future. And that music can let us know that. And the simple thing, which is music that you may hear early on, but nothing really happened. But then later on, you'll hear that that music and it reminds us of some feelings, or it was hinted at earlier. Foreshadowing. Number 4 tells us about the mood, how people is. It could be a normal movie, and then when things get scary, then it could start to dip a little bit. So similar to number 1. Number 1's a general atmosphere for the whole thing, but number 4 is specifically for a mood for that particular scene. Last one is that you can use this a lot for just simply movement. And movement could be if you're just going on a subtle drive, and you can have some gentle music as you're driving off into the sunset. Or speaking of driving, you can have a car chase, and the music better be picking up along there too, and helps elevate that the idea about the movement and things that are happening. All right, so now what we're going to do here is I'm going to have you play these on your own, but so you're going to pause this. But I have each of these. I got clips here, and so for clip number 1. I found this as an example of atmosphere. So what I want you to do is play this particular piece, this scene from the movie, and then I'm going to ask you when you guys come back into class, I'll randomly pick some of you and say, how is this an example of what we just saw, the world around us? And so movie number 1 is called Arrival. And what I'm going to recommend is, why don't you do one at a time, watch this thing, because I'm going to do one for all 5 of these. And then try to analyze atmosphere in this one, then do the next one and the next one, and do them all subsequently. Ready? So let's take a break here. Ready, set, play, pause, or just hit play. Go. All right, and you're back. So now here's the next one. The next one, we talked about characters, and this is a scene from The Empire Strikes Back. And tell me how the music is really going to help to help us know about some of the characters that are showing up here. And this is Darth Vader that you're going to see, and then also Darth Vader's boss, a guy by the name of the Emperor, and how the music helps that one. Play that now. And we're back. Number 3. Number 3 is the foreshadowing. Remember talking about something that's going to happen in the future. And so this is a classic scary movie called Halloween. And I want you to notice how, actually, you tell me, actually. So watch this one. Notice how it's foreshadowing, and prepare to talk about that one. Next is movement. I talked about how movement can convey this feeling of car chases and things like that. So let's watch this scene from a movie, one of the Mission Possible movies, and tell me how the music really applies to the concept of movement. And play. And our last one was the mood. The mood. So one of these classic scenes, I think that almost all of you have probably seen this before. It's one of the great openings of a movie, and the movie is called Up. So watch the opening scene from Up and tell me how the music really helps play and set the mood for the scene. And play. Okay, so you watch those. We'll share those when you come back to class. And now I'm going to give you another one. Now this is do this one on your own. I told you the other ones, like notice foreshadowing in the scary movie, notice mood. This one, I'm going to play this one in class when you guys get back. Watch it first ahead of time and see if you could be able to put any of, let me back up a little bit, to these ones. This is a sci-fi science fiction movie called Interstellar. And what do you notice? Is the music doing multiple things? I think it does. Which ones? About atmosphere, characters, foreshadowing, mood, and movement. And I'll preface this a little bit in terms of what you can expect when you watch this. The idea you have sort of three astronauts in this scene. The two of them that are here in this one, and then there's another astronaut who's ahead of him in another ship. He's trying to like run away. He's like wants to get to the ship and take off and leave these two guys behind, but they have to dock and connect with the space station. And so these other two astronauts are sort of chasing him, and there's some issues that they're having. And so watch the scene from Interstellar, and we'll talk about it and see if you tell me which of those things that apply. Watch it and go. Okay, so we're back from all of those. We'll talk about them when we get together in class. But and you could be like, is he going to test us on remembering all those ones? No. Here's the number one thing. What does throw all that other stuff out? Music simply does one thing in a movie, and that is it supports the story. Supports means it just helps it along. And it can do so much. So take, for example, let's watch this. I think we've seen this scene before, but I want you to watch this one now here. And this is the scene from Jurassic Park. Let me fast forward a little bit here. Whoa. Let me start that over again. Sorry, folks. Messed up there. This is the scene from Jurassic Park. And notice you're going to hear everything except the music has been taken out.
This species of Variformin's been extinct since the Cretaceous period. I mean, this thing is
It's a dinosaur. How fast are they? Well, we clocked the T-Rex to 32 miles an hour.
T-Rex?
Mm-hmm.
You said you've got a T-Rex?
Uh-huh. So you go. We have a T-Rex. Dr. Grant, my dear Dr. Saxon, welcome to Jurassic Park.
Okay, that's straight up just weird. Like there's something definitely missing in all of this. And what's it missing? Music supports the scene. And without it, you may think that's just one part. You had to have this the computer graphics, the CG graphics, which I said before was game-changing. Great acting, wonderful story, but without music, it's terrible. Whoop, I forgot me. There I am. It's absolutely terrible without music. I'm not going to do it right now, but on your own, there it is. Watch the scene with music now and just it's amazing about the difference that it makes by what it can add to it, and such. All right, so here's another fun one to check out. You may have seen the holiday Christmas classic Elf, and part of it, like I said, the things you don't really realize is the music. So watch if you change it up a little bit. You change a little bit of lighting, make it a little bit darker. Here's the trailer. Watch this on your own. Here's the trailer to Elf, but watch it if you do the editing a little bit differently, and more importantly, if the music changes. Check that one out on your own. All right, and we're back. So you should notice, like, that's sure something. That was some harsh edits and it's more bluish, the tint, the coloring of it all. But boy, the music sure can change a whole lot of stuff. So I hope that you get the gist of music and realizing you don't need to be an expert and understand what the music's supposed to do. Do I need to understand what kind of music is for love stories and for scary? It's hardwired in our brain. You don't need to know any of that. So for example, now we're going to play ourselves a little challenge here, people. What you're going to do is move that out of the way there. Okay, so what you're going to do is I have, what do we got here? 1, 2, 3. We got 10 different soundtracks that you're going to look to. Sorry, mess up the words. Scores you're going to listen to. And I'm going to play them for you. And what you're going to do is just listen to it. And like I said, since you're hardwired about what this sounds like, you're now going to go and take these. And you can see my little Bitmoji guy says, I want you to cut them, get rid of one. So let's say if you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a song for you. That song's going to be song number 1. When I play that song, what you're going to now do is go to this thing and right click and cut it, or use Control X. Get rid of this one. I'm sorry. You'll have to decide which one that it is. So let me show you over here. This is where you're going to put them. I'm going to play song number 1 for you. Song number 1 is going to go do 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 dibba 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 dibba, and you're like, oh, I think that song number 1 is this. I think it's a wacky theme song. It's a comedy. So what you're going to do is right click and cut it. And if you think that first song that I played is a wacky one, then you're going to paste it and put it right there. So basically match the score that I'm playing with the description of what you think that is. You got it? All right. So I'm going to push this thing back over here. These are the 10 to pick from. When you're done, all of these should be gone and they're going to go over here. Okay. I have 10 of them. I'm only going to let's do half. I'm going to do 5 here. At home, I'm going to do the other 5 when we come back in class. So you can do 1 through 5 right now. All right. So let me move the microphone over a little bit so you guys can hear these things. Try to start up a little bit here. All right. So I got my thing set up over here. You're going to go to this thing, have this open while you listen to the music that Mr. O'Donnell's going to play for you right here. Turn the music up a little bit. Turn them speakers up. All right, so here is song number 1. Which one of these 10 do you think is song number 1? Okay, that was song number 1, everybody. So what you should have done is grab which one that you think that it is, and you're going to cut it. If you thought that's a wacky comedy, you're going to go and put that on this space over here for number 1. Got it? So let's go back over here, and I'll play you song number 2. right, that was number 2, everybody. So you should be putting that over here, and then just underneath the number 2. Okay, that's number 2. Let's take a listen actually for number 3. All right, number 3 right there, everybody. How you doing so far? You feel like you're 100%? You got them all? Let's check out number 4. Different on that one. That was number 4. And our last one, number 5. And then we'll do the 5 other ones in class. So here is number 5. Okay, there we go. There's 1 through 5, everybody. Let's bring me on back here. Got you. You should have copied those over onto your into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to come back with 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 when we come back in class when I see you guys next time. And all right, so there's a couple things to do there too. Next, actually, I got more. There's more to do. Yep. Next thing I want you to do is go out and find a scene from any movie that you like that has a score, and you go put that video right there. And then you're going to put the title. Tell me the year that the movie came out. Put as the title of the movie. And then over here, I want you to be able to tell me, what are those 4 things? Remember, which of those 4 things can a good score do? Do you think that it really does? Is it about setting the mood? Is it about movement? Is it about the character? Foreshadowing? You tell me what you think this song really does. That piece really does here. Gotcha. And then besides that, there's one last thing. I thought you said that was the last thing. Nope. Nice try. Last one is, I want you to watch this on your own. It's a really kind of a neat thing. It's called How Film Scores Play with Our Brains. It's about 11 minutes. Similar to some of the stuff that we talked about, but you see a lot more examples from movies and having sort of a deep dive in on that one. So we're diving into music, everybody, and start thinking about, we're going to be putting some underscore music into our upcoming stuff. And it could be lots of different things. It could be love stories. It could be scary movies. It could be chases. It could be lots of sort of stuff. So anyway, that's your at-home lesson, everybody. Good luck with that stuff, and see you all in class next time.